share? Yeah, can you record?
Okay.
That was my question, Randy.
Exactly. I was
Sorry to interrupt.
No, I'm just asking to record every lesson.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Yeah, we got it. All right, let's get started. Here we go. Now, I don't know if you remember from last Thursday, but I did disconnect my phone from my computer, so hopefully that won't throw everything else off. But someone's dog will come in or whatever, but we're just all here to learn together, to work together, help each other. So one big happy family. Let's get started. We are super excited. I can't tell you at Runway, and I know Sebastiano is super excited that we're actually here today, that this is happening, and that we know we are going to go on a journey together, and it's going to be amazing. So here we go. So here's what we're going to cover today in our session, and our partner Enrich, Sebastian Tor, will also be presenting as well. And we're going to go through an overview of the phase 2 program. We're going to talk a little bit, dive a little bit deeper into mentorship and how that will work. We'll get you oriented towards how, and some of you, your social media's, totally ready to go, and some may not be there yet, haven't gotten to it yet. So we'll just talk about getting your social media sort of up to speed, up to date, if needed, certainly in advance of you coming to Silicon Valley. And we're going to go through really today. A lot of today is, think about it as onboarding. So we'll go through tools like Slack, PitchBook, and the portal. And then we'll leave some time to just sort of wrap up, make sure that you don't have any questions, and also just get a preview for what we're doing tomorrow. So I wanted to just sort of let you know a little bit more about the person behind. We're going to be doing some sharing today, and starting in the upper left on the screen, that's a view from my house. I live a little, that's where I am this morning, even though my background is the Runway office. So that's the view from my home office. I love living on the coast, and hopefully you guys will have a chance while you're here to spend some time on the coast. I have had the privilege to come to Italy, and both for vacation and holidays, as well as work, and doing some speaking and working with entrepreneurs in Italy. And so far, I've been to the island of Elba. That was sort of bizarre the way that happened, but I did. Florence, Firenze, Rome, of course, and also Sardinia, which was incredible. So lots more to visit. Italy truly is one of my very favorite countries in the world to visit so far, and so hopefully that just gives you some sense. At least I have been to your country and really enjoyed it. And just for fun, a little bit more about me. That's my dog Lola, who's basically this little fluffy thing. She's an old girl now. She's 17. So anyway, she hangs out with me. So sometimes she may wander around. And then I just wanted to share a moment for, just to give you a sense of some of the things I do. I happen to do a lot of pitch coaching and judging pitch competitions. And so this was a pretty fun, very high profile event where we got to give away $1 million to startups that day. And so I just thought it was a fun moment to share. The guy in the front is pretty well known to tech entrepreneurs. He's a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk. pretty controversial. We'll talk more about people like that, but he has some good stuff going on. So anyway, just wanted to share a little bit more about myself so you had a sense of me. We're going to start off with an icebreaker just to get to know each other a little better and to know your companies. So you have gotten an email and asked to be ready to share a photo that represents some important moment in your company's journey so far, or maybe as you're in your journey as an entrepreneur. I wanted to share this fun moment for our company. This was it actually was a baby shower that we threw for one of our team members, and we went miniature golfing. This is right in San Francisco, near UC San Francisco, the university. And we had a great time. There were definitely some really good golfers in there, and then the rest of us. But it was I think one of the things that whenever we really try, our team works very hard, as I'm sure yours does, and it's so important to remember to have some fun along the way. So this is just, a moment of fun from the runway team that I wanted to share. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen because now I want to see some photos from your companies. So I'm going to ask Marco with Artcentrica. Marco, can you show a photo?
Sure. I show you a photo that is where everything started even before Artcentrica was founded. And this is the photo. I think that you can see it now.
Yeah.
Okay. And basically, this occasion, I was in London. I was in Global Tech Startup Awards in January 2020. Because we were selected with Virtue Italy, which is another startup that we founded with the main company Centrica. And in that occasion, I showed also this first screenshot that was the initial idea of Artcentrica that we have matured in the next months. And so it has been important for that reason, because I got aware of the potentiality in front of these all the decision makers from several companies like Google, Amazon, and so on. And so we decided to invest in Artcentrica since that date.
Very exciting. So this is sort of the genesis of the company. I love it. And of course, I was actually in Sardinia in January of 2020. And so, and we know that then the pandemic happened.
Yes.
So quite a moment in time in many different ways. So thank you for sharing that. That's terrific. And thank you for keeping it on time. And let's go next with Enrico with BYB Tech. Enrico, do you have a photo to share? Is Enrico here? I'm seeing everybody. Oops. Okay, Enrico's not on yet. Maybe my team can email him and just see if we can track him down. Maybe he's having problems getting on for some reason. Okay, so next we'll go to Stefano with Contents. Stefano.
Hi everyone.
Good morning or good evening.
Can you see the picture?
Yes, thank you.
So, as you can see, that's me. And here I was in Lisbon, and it was the first time that I was representing Contents.com in a startup competition called Get in the Ring. I don't know if any of you has heard it. And well, it was truly incredible, essentially because, as I said before, it was the first time representing my company, but also because I thought that I was pretty afraid of public speaking. But as a matter of fact, it wasn't like that. So it was a big achievement for me. And the funny thing is that it was in Portugal, but this time in Porto last summer, that I discovered that I would be the one to join the Global Startup Program in San Francisco, because I was there when my chief executive officer called me and told me that I was the chosen one. So I have a special bond with Portugal.
Terrific. All right. Thank you very much. That's quite a setup. I mean, boy, talk about setting up some drama and excitement, particularly for a speaker to get in that ring. That's scary but cool.
Yeah, it was tough. Seeing the ring before going there was pretty tough.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you so much. All right. So if you could stop sharing.
Yeah, sure.
And then next up, we'll have ExoLab with Valerio. We have Valerio.
Hi.
There we go.
Okay. I have to share my screen. So you can see the picture. You can see?
Yes.
Okay, I choose this photo, and this photo is the pic of our wall of our laboratory. And this photo was taken at the end of the construction last March. And it represents the end of a complex journey. In fact, the works of the lab lasted 5 months with continuous delays due to increase the price of raw materials. And so this peak represents for me the actual start of our production process. And so I want to share with you this quote that we decided to put on the wall, and the translation is that nature is great in great things, but is greater in small one.
Wonderful. I love it. That's very exciting, getting a new lab going. All right, thank you, Valerio. Next up, we have DSUP, and we have, DSUP has 2 participants for the program, Danielle and Valentina. So I'm not sure who from DSUP is going to present. Do we have either?
Okay, yes, we are here.
Okay, wonderful.
Hello everybody.
Hi, Valentina.
Hello, how is it doing? I'm sharing my screen. We selected with the, I don't know if you see it.
Not yet.
Okay, tell me if it's a good.
Yeah, there we go.
Fantastic.
Nice.
So actually it was a bit tricky because we have a lot of pictures, and with Daniele, we took some time for selecting this picture. This is funny. I know it was about 1 year ago, part of the team, because meantime, you know, team changed a bit and grew also. And it was in Tuscany where we were an IT building weekend. We tried to do this initiative with a plastic-free group that, you know, is taking care of, you know, a specific territory. So we actually were collecting, you know, plastic, of course, but this was significant for us because it's part also of our mission to, you know, contribute to a better world and, you know, do our contributions. And I have to say that it was pretty much one of the first time where we went out of the office and, you know, we in concrete tried to do this. And the funny things, and the reason why we chose this picture with Danielle, is that everybody's smiling in this picture. And you can, you know, feel it how we were committed and happy about this small but significant initiative. Yeah.
Terrific. Thank you so much. I love that.
Cool.
All right. Next up, let's have Paolo with Kaja.
Here I am. Thank you. You took me a bit by surprise. I was not prepared for this, but I found a couple of pictures that I want to share with you. And the first one is this one. As you can see, this is the stage of the Talenti Startup Program, which is a program run by Confindustria, which is the main entrepreneurial association in Italy. And we were selected at the final stage, the national final stage. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but we reached the final stage in Santa Margherita, and we were there. There were 12 startups, and we're very proud to reach that stage. And the other one, I'm not sure that I'm able to share the screen. Can you see this guy? This guy is very important for my company because this is Dario, the other founder of the company. Of course, he's a very funny guy, but this is what mean for us found the company. Drawing flows, thinking about what we want to do, diagrams. This is what for us meant to, draw a flow and try to understand if everything is working correctly, if we got to improve something, if we want to fix something else, etc., etc.
Great. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's great. All right. So next up, we'll have Erica with Cargoful. Hi, Erica.
Hi. Okay, let me share my screen and I'll show you the picture I chose. So this this picture comes from our very first retreat. It was summer last year. It was in a villa in Tuscany. The majority of the team is from there, so we optimize the traveling. But it is super important for me because it was actually the first time where the entire team came together after we founded the company. So we started during the pandemic, and we worked remotely for months, for like really many months. A few people were in the US, a couple of people were in the US, and then they came back to Italy. But because of the travel restrictions, we couldn't really meet. So we decided for the occasion that we wanted to have like a team T-shirt to remember it. And we made the wonderful mistake to print the logo on the sleeve. So in all the pictures we have, there's no way to see it. Oh, well, actually, we tried to do something, some picture.
Yeah.
But that was zero. This is the only thing we came out with. So, but that's it. We're a software company, so it's not obvious that we have that we can meet every day. Like we work a lot remotely, so in-person moments are really important for us.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, next up, let's go with Luca from Lake Energy. Luca's got his headphones on. He's ready to go. Wow. That's beautiful. Luca, we can't hear you yet. Luca, we're not hearing you. There we go. Thanks.
Okay, sorry. I don't know. I had the headphones, but
yeah, no worries at all.
So the photo is about Easter 2022. Okay, and it's also testing one of the new boats of the new fleet after 2021, where we just started testing a few boats. We got the complete fleet for Easter, and it was the start of the season of 2022. And I remember biggest excitement, of course, because I get excited every time I get to drive a boat. I guess as almost all the people, but excitement also because we were testing our products against the clients and the market, trying to get the validation, which is one of the best feelings for everyone, I guess. That's my Easter of 2022.
That's where is that exactly?
It's Lake Maggiore, Stresa.
Wow. Stunning. Thank you for sharing that. It's like a little vacation in a photo also. That's terrific. All righty. So next up, let's go with Senso-san. Bernal.
Yes, here we are. Do you hear me?
We hear you. We don't see your screen yet.
Yeah, just a second. Condividi. Do you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so here we are in, I'm in Mobile World Conference this year in June. No, in March. In March, yes. No, in February, at the end of February. And so we want to improve the well-being of people. Yes, sure. But we want also to improve the Italian innovation in all over the world. And so here we are with the last Ministry of Innovation in Italy, and was the CEO of Vodafone for many years, Vodafone World, and our ambassador in Spain. And so these are our topics: well-being of people and Italian innovation.
Great. Thank you very much. With some prestigious people coming to visit you. That's terrific. All right. And I, next up is Relief, and I need help with how to pronounce your name. I'm gonna butcher it, but is it Gioia?
Yes, it's joy. The meaning in Italian is joy.
Joy. Okay.
Yeah.
That is my. That's actually Joy is my middle name. So.
Ah, wow.
now I'll remember it. But okay, great. So.
Okay, I share my screen. Also, Tommaso is here with me.
Oh, wonderful.
So I use a LinkedIn post, and this is the image. This is very important for us because it's the sunset that we saw during the traveling from Rome to Pisa after the first implantation of our medical device. Our medical device was implanted with successful, and so on the way we back at home, and we are very happy. And also the nature gives these fantastic pictures. So it's important for us. What is the meaning of this photo?
Yes, yeah. So and it's a huge milestone for the company.
Yeah.
To have that first implantation. That's terrific. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have anybody from Windering? Do we have Dennis?
Yes,
or
both of us.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yes, we are here. Dennis and Stefano.
Oh, yes, I see you both. Okay, great.
Yeah, which is the preferred one?
You choose. Just one of you show
okay.
a photo.
Okay, the ugliest photo is mine, so I'll go with mine. Okay, just a second to share the screen. Okay, just a second. Here it is. Yeah. Okay. Could you see the photo?
Yeah.
Okay, this is pretty ugly. Maybe the ugliest possible, but it's really significant for me. This is 486. It is a computer of the early 90s, and my father decided to buy me this computer when I was something like 10 years old or about that, and there were no one reason to buy a computer like that to a kid, okay, to a 10 years old guy. I don't know why, but my father decided to buy this to me. And from that moment on, I play with this computer, just disassembling the computer and assembling again and trying to write the first line code. I was without internet, no video games, nothing. So there were nothing funny to do with this computer. But since that moment, I think I lived my life every day with the computer under my hands. And so I don't know why, but my father maybe has the intuition to buy this to me because he saw something that I'm not able to understand even now. And since that moment, everything's changed to me, and this is the reason why I've been able to develop by myself winery.com with the help of Stefano.
Terrific. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's exciting. Do we have someone? We heard that Michelangelo from Wise Air couldn't be here. Do we have someone from Wise Air? Okay.
We haven't received the replacement email yet.
All right, just double checking. Okay. Well, thank you everybody very much. That was really exactly what I was hoping for, and just a start of getting to learn more about each other. So I really appreciate it. And you guys did a great job of getting your photos up pretty quickly. So thank you for that. Let's see, let me go back to my deck. No, where did my deck go? Oh, here we go. Okay. So moving on, I'm going to briefly introduce, well, I'm going to ask actually Sebastian to introduce people on his team. And Sebastian, why don't you take it away for a minute?
Sure. So I'm Sebastian Tor. I'm part of the Enrich in the USA team. I think we did a little intro last week. We are part. I don't know if you have any other slide or just those slides. So, or if you use those slides, I'm just gonna. Okay. So, yeah. So I'm on the West Coast. I work in San Francisco. I still do a lot of back and forth with Southern California post-COVID. And I'm a lot traveling to trade shows, events. The headquarters, as you remember, is in Philadelphia. The headquarters of this initiative under Temple University. So I'm often there around DC, New York, Boston. So traveling again post-COVID. But the San Francisco hub is very important for us. We have built a great relationship with the runway team, and I'll be during the project. I'll be around like now during for the online project, but also for the initiative on site when you're going to be in San Francisco. I'll be here also to support you guys. Supporting you guys is also offering a lot of tools and the network of Enrich and all the good things we do that could really complement and add nice perks, in fact, to the program. Blondine is my colleague. She is really at the end the project manager of this particular initiative. She's full-time at Temple. She's also French. She was responsible for the region, the Lyon region at the time when they had offices in the US and Canada. Then she moved to a Chamber of Commerce, the French-American Chamber of Commerce. That's how I got to know her. And we started doing initiatives together. And she landed at the end at Temple University because of the plan of the project to be sustainable and working through a university. So we picked a Temple. At Temple, you have a lot of people. That's what I presented last time on the slide. So you have 35,000 students and thousands of teams and different departments. And under, so you have, the engineering department, the business department. We are in fact under the business department, under the SBDC, it's called a Small Business Development Center. But also you have other groups like the research division. Todd Abrams is responsible for tech transfer. And we do with that team most of the grants in the US, for example. So SBA, EDA, and other type of grants. They are the biggest recipients of the universities like in Europe. They are the biggest recipients of grants from at the federal level, at state level, at city level, and SBDC, in fact, is a grant. And that's how they distribute the money to the network and try to grow the network. Very similar to EEN, by the way, for the ones who know Enterprise Europe Network. These are the three people that'll be in contact with you, especially myself and then Blondin and Todd and his team. Under SBDC, we have another 20 people. You will learn what is SBDC. We'll put you in contact with the SBDC network also in Northern California, because it's a large family. It's like the EN network. And we will try to, again, add the perks and resources from them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sebastian. So I'll just quickly comment that at Runway, we ran a program for entrepreneurs from Austria in the first quarter of the year. But we had just started, working with Enrich and didn't partner with them on that one. And we are so excited about all of the things that you will get through this partnership with Enrich. It's really doubling the assets and networks and resources that we can bring to bear for you for this program. So a lot more coming on that. I wanted to just take a minute to introduce our team. So Randy, I don't know, she may change her hair a few different times, but I just this is a fun photo that she had where she had her business-like jacket, but she got it lined with this fabulous Superwoman interior lining, just to give you a sense of some of the personality behind our folks. And then Joyce, who has been helping so much with all of the pre-program planning and is based in Washington State, but Joyce has many talents. In some ways, it's good that she's not going to be that much at Runway because she is a wicked mixologist. And I remember those cocktails; those were particularly good. So anyway, she again, you will, I'm sure, get to know Joyce a little bit better as the program goes along. But I just wanted to have you have a sense of some of the people that you're interacting with and who are going to be helping you along the way. Other important people on our team are Catherine Chang, and who's our community success manager. Catherine makes the space work, makes our members happy. She knows where everything is and can really help you orient when you're in San Francisco, has a whole wealth of knowledge to help make life easier for you. And Natalie Ashodian is our startup ecosystem manager. So she manages our co-working space and can help connect you with different members and all sorts of things. So you'll be seeing Natalie as well. And then you'll also be seeing Katie Whitcraft, who her title is Director of Operations, but she's also our platforms guru, among other things. She's going to be helping you a little bit later today with PitchBook, sort of getting oriented a bit to PitchBook. So just a few folks from our team to help you be oriented. So let's transition into the program itself. So we talked about this somewhat on the program kickoff last Thursday, but I just wanted to emphasize a couple things here. Is one of the things that we'll be doing through your participation in the various sessions, workshops, mentorship resources for you, and coaching. You'll really, you have an entrepreneurial mindset, or you wouldn't be in a startup, but your concept of that will definitely expand and evolve by the end of this program, particularly when you think about moving from a startup, which, a startup in some ways is when do you go from being a startup to a company, right? And a company that's growing and scaling and making that shift. A lot of what we're doing, you're going to hear this several times, but there is so much benefit to working in a cohort and learning from each other. that peer-to-peer learning is tremendously valuable. And you will leave this program with a core of people that you've been learning and growing with that also have their own networks, and you can help each other beyond the program with an array of in an array of ways. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. I do want to share that, you know, as part of Runway and Enrich's requirements to satisfy for our client, the Italian Trade Agency, you know, you've signed agreements related to your attendance of the sessions and being, you know, participating in those. And we also have to provide reports to track progress and so forth. So the reason why I mentioned that is we will be asking for information, for data and feedback. And it primarily, it serves two purposes. One, we're asking so that we can check in on how things are going for you and how we can help you. And number two, we have to satisfy our reporting requirements. So it's not just to create busy work. It is, we are incredibly mindful of the fact that time is your most important asset. So we think carefully about every piece of information that we ask of you. And just wanted to share that that's the context behind those requests. Let's think about what are opportunities, what might success look like for the program. So the ability to make progress in getting new customers or users or partners. That could be things like pilot studies, maybe even letters of intent, investment, you know, getting, you know, sometimes you can get that first meeting. Will you get the second meeting with an investor if that's your focus? Getting the activities that are going to lead to investment going, due diligence, term sheets. I will say, as we look at those two things, however, those take time. You're here for 8 weeks. And often those activities take longer than 8 weeks. But we're interested in optimizing as much as is possible progress towards those paths with either customer acquisition or investment. So again, in terms of tracking progress, helping you make progress, looking at ways that we can tap into our networks on your behalf, make those introductions. It's all about helping you move forward on these primary paths. And certainly, particularly for those who are starting, you know, preparing for US market entry, or who are maybe already somewhat in the US market, but are looking to grow that, there are ways to help amplify your brand, you know, generate social media buzz, press, and things like that. So we want to work with you to support and reinforce any newsworthy initiatives that, you know, you might be pushing out for your company during the program. We can, you know, help amplify that. So that's something we'll talk about a little bit more. Here are the other things that that are good, you know, outcomes that will really important outcomes that will happen during the program. You building your network of and relationships in the US, doing the really important work of talking early to potential customers, right? Doing that validation that your offices fit the US customer need. That's critical. And then, you know, as part of what you need to have set up in place to enter the US market is getting out and meeting those service providers and maybe even talent early on that you're going to need to have for when you make your move for US market. So those are a lot of things that you know can help you really lay that groundwork as you're going forward. Let's see. Any questions or comments about that? Any of that before I move on? Okay.
Sandra,
Yeah.
only one question regarding the fact that we will be 8 weeks in San Francisco, so everything will be easier when we will be physically there. Any suggestion on how to manage contacts and any other kind of relations, knowing that after these 8 weeks, we will be back in Italy and it will be much more difficult to manage all these contacts?
Yes. You know, one of the reasons Sebastian's going to talk to you about LinkedIn, and LinkedIn plays a really important role. The other thing that I'll share with you in working with entrepreneurs from all over the world, which I did a lot of when I was at Singularity, you know, I would see these entrepreneurs come back to Silicon Valley. You know, maybe they were from Chile or, you know, wherever. And I'd sort of like, oh, it's great to see you. And then I'd wonder why they were back in Silicon Valley. And they consistently told me that they got more done in a week in Silicon Valley for their business than what they could get done in a week. It would take them a month back home. So again, for many of your businesses, maybe not all, but many of your businesses, you know, this is your just first, you know, and I know some of you have been to Silicon Valley before, but it's, you know, it's just the start, particularly if you're really planning to expand significantly into the US market.
Yeah,
so it's just the
and I
start
can
of
add, if you want, on those elements. The whole point is to really have the companies come back. They have real reason to come back to do business. And so we have two months to build the minimum infrastructure network relationship to make it work for the next year or two in terms of prospects, in terms of opportunities, etc., etc. The importance of working with an established network like Enrich and with EN and LinkedIn is another network, and I will just go a little on that a little later, is that you can build your network on those networks and build the trust on those networks, something we will cover later. But it comes also with a lot of pieces, a lot of processes that will help the entrepreneurs come back and maybe stay and maybe bring somebody to stay to cover the first deal or to first partnership. And that is part of the exercise, is to propose the possibility of coming back, think of what that means. That would be also during the classes, we'll explain the mobility of the entrepreneur, what that means to come back, even in terms of visa, and get really your deal to close because you've been able to use that network and that process. And one of the process and which we've been proposing is to use the existing infrastructure in the US with strong partners like Runway to make sure you have enough resources, networks, and things in place so that you can close something in about in 2023. There's going to be a lot of noise, a lot of excitement when you're going to be here, but then it's about closing, and we'll make sure that you have everything in place for that, because you'll be supported by us, and they're going to be the right process. And Rich is one of them, and we'll cover that later. So is that a bullet point that we should add? Definitely, you're not going to be left alone after that. There's going to be a lot of follow-up, and also through the different tools that we use that we will explain a little later.
Great, thank you, Sebastian. Okay, so we're really focused on our program overview and orientation this morning. We're going to continue with other elements to get the most out of the program. Tomorrow, we're going to jump in with a terrific session. This is the first of 2 parts. We're really going to focus on perfecting your pitch. You know, as we all know, we're always constantly working on our messaging and so forth. So that this is going to be a great session, and then I'm going to actually talk about Silicon Valley mindset and culture, and then we're going to have on Wednesday a terrific sessions on really digging into the cultural differences as they relate to your business operating in Silicon Valley in the US and so forth. And then in terms of Thursday and Friday, Thursday, each company should be meeting with their core mentor. And I'll talk about the mentors in just a bit, and we'll let you know who your core mentors are. And then your pitch mentor, which is going to be myself or another woman that I'll show you, Maria, and tell you a little bit more about what we're doing. So this is the first week. And then next week on Monday, you're going to have this part 2. Oh, sorry, you're going to have a session on pitching to B2B customers and partners. And then you're going to have the part 2 session on perfecting your pitch. And then Tuesday is going to be focused on accessing capital in the US. One of the things that I want to mention is that we're going to have a 15-minute break at 9:15 for each day. Okay, so you'll have time to sort of step away and take care of things, and then we'll get started right again at 9:30. On Wednesday, we're going to have a great session on product management, and then finally US public relations and marketing. Okay, and then again, you're going to meet with your core mentor, and we'll have the remaining sessions with me or Maria for your pitch mentor. So that's the high level program for the next 2 weeks. And then I showed this on Thursday. So just a reminder about the 2 different types of mentors. I want to talk for just a minute about mentorship essentials. And I want you to think about mentors or advisors that you're currently working with. And if you can identify, there are very simply 3 types of mentors. There are people who are domain experts that could be in your industry, or they have deep understanding and experience in your particular technology area. There are mentors broadly who might have really good experiences, ability to help you with fundraising, or people who know how to sell to your customer, or have built sales operations and can really help you with B2B customer sales. Okay. And then the third is what I kind of call a Yoda. And it's someone who themselves has, significant operational experience, whether in a big company or small, but they're really that person for, the CEO or the co-founders to really dig into a lot of different aspects of your business. And sometimes these people, you're talking with them about how to recruit and manage talent, that's critical to your company. I mean, once you have, more than yourself in your company, you sort of have, HR issues sometimes. And so it can be that, or it can be, really helping you think forward into positioning your company down the road for a successful exit. So it could be different types. The other thing is that sometimes your mentors or advisors, you might meet with someone just once, so that's one kind of context, or you may develop a relationship where you're meeting with them on some ongoing basis. So lots of different types here, but just, let's sort of think a little bit more about the people that we currently have helping our companies, okay? I wanted to connect you, and you guys will get these slides, to the core mentors. Each of these mentors, they're all investors, either have been or actively are investing now. They make, one of those two. Steve has terrific experience with working with startups from all over the world, primarily technology-based startups, primarily B2B, but also B2C in an array of domains. He's also been a corporate venture capitalist for several big firms, and he is really terrific. Each of these is very strong mentors. That's why they were selected for this. And then Oren Ionicharis is a physician. He's practiced for 30 years. He doesn't look like it, but he did. And but he is a physician investor, and he has also built investor networks, among other things. He's on the board of several companies. He's helped companies, he's led investment rounds, has terrific experience. And Gail Gannon also has a healthcare background. She's on the board advising tech startups. She's a champion of ethical tech. She has a master's in public health from Harvard, undergrad in biology at Berkeley. And she did something pretty cool recently where she was working in the country of Georgia for a month with young women who had come from Ukraine and helping them sort of transition to the next phase of their life. So, but Gail has also worked with tech startups from all over the world. So really lots of deep experience from each of these folks. And then, as I mentioned, myself and Maria Pienaar. Maria is someone who has been a chief information officer for telecom companies around the world. She has started corporate venture capital funds. She is currently on working with a couple of investment firms focused on fintech. She also works in the field of corporate innovation, so really understands the process of engaging with corporate customers. And she's an engineer. She's an electrical engineer. She's actually South African and studied at the University of Pretoria. So, and she does a lot of coaching on helping companies be prepared to meet with US investors. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I'm just trying to keep myself on time. All right, gang. So, mentoring. I've done a lot of different programs, and one of the things that we've talked about a lot at Runway is the fact that there's not always that much rigor when it comes to mentoring, right? It can be very ad hoc. So I wanted to start with a couple of guidelines. And these are guidelines that we actually share with our mentors, but there's two people, there's two parties, if you will, in the mentoring activity. There's the mentor, and you, the mentee. So what you should expect of a mentor is that they come to the meeting prepared, that they've reviewed any briefing materials that you've provided, assuming you've provided them in a timely manner before the call or meeting, that they're present with you, that they're not sitting there, if you're in the room with them together, not sitting there looking at their cell phone half the time, that they're on time. Here's that they acknowledge up front if they have any conflicts of interest. Have they invested in any companies that are competitors to you? Because if they have a fiduciary interest in the company that they invested in, or are an advisor to. So that's good hygiene. The other thing you want to, we talk to mentors about is to not be a predator. Occasionally, you will run into someone who will try to ask a maybe less experienced entrepreneur for 5% of their company, and I'll introduce you to some investors. No, that's not good. And you want them to maintain confidentiality about things that are critical for your business strategy, potential business deals, intellectual property. And then finally, if they've offered to introduce you to people, that they do what they say they'll do, right? That's what we want from mentors. And then what should a mentor expect of you? Think about how you go into these meetings. Have you provided any briefing materials in advance? Does the mentor, particularly for the first meeting, you haven't even met yet, do they know what to expect? Maybe the top 3 topics you hope to cover during your time with them. Do you, when you go into these meetings, have you at least looked at the mentor's background? Have you at least looked at their LinkedIn profile to get a sense of them? What else are they doing when they're not mentoring? Are they involved with other companies, et cetera? It's really important to at least have reviewed that, so you have a start, and you're also starting a relationship, hopefully. You also want to be on time and be present. You want to respect their time and end the meeting on time. At the end of the meeting, you want to leave time to summarize next steps, perhaps for a next meeting. Take a few minutes, particularly in that first meeting, to get to know them a little bit, their interests. Don't just be that, you're here all for me, and you're starting a relationship. That's super, super important. So let them get to know you a little bit and get to know them. And, I'm sure you'll find some interesting things. The other thing sometimes I've seen companies do is there's so much going on for the entrepreneur that they have this meeting with the mentor, and and it's the first meeting, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm about to break up with my co-founder, or whatever it is. And they sort of just download really intense things. And it's like, whoa, wait, it's a little too much. Let's step back here and figure it out. It's, so just be a little mindful of that. Get to know them a little bit, because you also want to know, okay, who is this person, and what's sort of the best way that we can spend our time together. Was there a question or a comment? Okay. So this is something that I want you to be thinking about in terms of, Bernard, you had a question?
Yes, thanks. So I don't understand one thing. At the first time, we can talk with any kind of mentors, or we have assigned a mentor?
Oh, you have assigned, for this part of the program, you have assigned mentors.
Okay.
So you will be talking to your mentor this week, your core mentor this week.
Oh, okay. And the other question is, especially when we will be in presence.
Yes.
If we have all the same programs. This question is because we have a different stage of startup, and also we have a different goals of our for our company, and so I want to understand this.
What's the question specifically?
If we have the same program in San Francisco, or we have a specific program with target areas, for example, of the other companies, or with the same goals of the other companies, not all the same program for every company.
Right. So, we have 12 companies in different, we have some that are in healthcare, bio, and we have some that are in clean tech, and then we have companies that are in very different areas. We have companies at different stages. However, and we have companies with different business models, B2B versus B2C, right? So the good news is that we have an array of mentors. In phase 3, you will have core mentors plus a whole roster of expert mentors. It's an abundance of mentors that you will have access to. Despite what I said about the diversity of where each company is, there are really a couple of primary activities that each of you is focused on. It's either you're wanting to raise funding for your company, or you're wanting to acquire new customers. So no matter where you are in terms of your stage, those are your two objectives. So every mentor knows that you're trying to do at least one, if not both of those things. So sometimes some information you might be ahead of, or other companies might be ahead of yours. And that is also the opportunity to really benefit from learning and sharing with each other. Because there are some companies that will be ahead of the path of you that might be able to provide examples of ways that they overcame certain challenges related to whatever that topic is. So while we can't do 12 individual programs, there is a mix of content and access to a deep network of experts where we can get you what you need, as well as the other companies. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand the generals. For example, for the fundraising, for the pitch, how to make a pitch, a beautiful pitch, or to understand the Silicon Valley brain or mentality. I completely agree this. Just to understand, for example, I have a topic for to improve the technology. For example, the technology, my technology is different. For example, from Marco. Marco don't need the for example, the not the CI certification. The in Europe is a CI, is CI, in US is another name, but it's the same. I need this certification. Marco don't need this certification for every time life of the company, I believe, because he work in completely another area.
Right.
And so for that we have a specific mentor or not.
Well, we would find someone who has experience in the regulatory arena that you're needing.
I can add something, and hello Bernard. You have when you're going to be all here in San Francisco, the mentorship session will be more customizable because we will have a larger pool depending on your availability, and because we try also not to overwhelm you, so we kind of propose a program with different times, but there will be a larger pool of mentors to pick from. And you probably remember the advisory board session of Enrich, where the idea is to put the experts of each, so for each company in the room. So these are really more industry experts of corresponding to specific needs or questions. So less generic. And that's why those advisory board meetings are happening. So you can refocus on your business. Again, it depends on your availability, because we cannot take 40 hours of your time doing a lot of that, even if you're really supposed to be focused on your business in the US. We have also a business in Europe. So it's something that's going back to, hey, I'm different. And also your availability will be different from each, everybody's going to have a different pace depending on the maturity, the stage of the company. So that's why we will discuss that when you're there, and there will be possibilities of more or less meetings, advisory board meetings and mentorship meetings.
Okay, so thank you. It's a terrific question, Bernard. Thank you for that. And we can answer more questions at the end of the session, but I'm gonna move on. I would ask you to reflect for yourself on the mentors or advisors that you're working with now. Where are you with that? Where do they fall into these categories? And really try to rank them. Again, this is just for you, but I would really encourage you, and you can take a screenshot of this or something, to do this for yourself, and particularly before you come into town, to get a sense of where things are for you with your the current mentors and advisors that you have. Because one of the reasons to do this is to identify any gaps, right? Gee, I don't have anybody really helping me as a CEO coach right now, somebody who can help me in those ways, for example. So I would really encourage you to do this self-assessment. The other thing I really want you to think about is how you're currently approaching mentoring sessions. How organized are you? What do you share with the mentors prior to the meetings? Are those meetings running well? Because this is super important. You may say to yourself, gee, I'm so busy, this takes too much time to do this preparation. Here are the reasons to start. If you're not following these practices, here are the reasons to do that and why this pays off for you in big ways down the road. First of all, as a mentor, when you're meeting with someone who's following many or all of those practices, you're differentiating yourself from others in the pack. You're getting that mentor's attention. They're going to be more interested to help you. You're going to get more than you expected probably from that mentor, because they're like, okay, this entrepreneur is serious. They're really focused. They're working, I want to help them. It'll also help you as you particularly in going from multiple meetings, use it as an opportunity to show progress. Like, okay, this is what we talked about in their last meeting, what I needed to do. Here's my update on that. Here are the things that you said you'd do. Thank you so much for those introductions, right? It shows progress. The other way it comes up is that down the road, let's say you're looking for investment, or you're looking for someone who can serve as like a reference for you, is you can point a potential customer or investor to that mentor as your investor, potential investor, is starting to do diligence. They're going to want to talk to somebody. And the other thing is that if you don't already have, let's call it regular board meetings, have a governance structure, doing this, running these meetings effectively starts to lay the groundwork for a governance structure, which is when a company is sort of growing up. All right, so it's really, really important for you. Okay, quickly, I want to just mention in phase 3, you'll continue to have hours that you can meet with your core experts or your core mentors. So the core mentors that you have, you'll continue to have access to them. And then you'll have an additional roster of other expert mentors, as well as mentors provided by Enrich that Sebastian's going to show you when he takes you through the portal, how to access that. Okay, one of the things that I tell mentors, particularly when they're involved in accelerator programs like this, is sometimes a conversation might come up with a startup that they're mentoring to become an advisor. Here are some general guidelines that I think are good to consider for both the mentor and the startup. Is I really recommend before you jump into giving someone equity in your company, is to do a 90-day trial to really test that fit. We'll talk more about this when you're in person, but I just, you want to think about, okay, what do I really want this advisor, again, someone who's going to have equity in your company, what do I want them to do? How am I going to communicate with them? So again, and I wanted to point you to this this is a very comprehensive manifesto, but there's a lot of good stuff in it if you haven't had a chance to see it before. So I'm running up to time, so I want to give you guys a break. Okay, we're going to keep on time. And then when we come back, we'll do a quick view of Slack, and we'll continue on with demos of other great tools. So for now, enjoy your break and be back in 15 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.